The problem with a pipe is that if you want to set your hook, you have to pull it out of the pipe and then set the hook. So with this here setup, where we've got a little thingy to hold it, you know, from moving left to right at the top, and then just a little cup at the bottom. When you get a bite, all you gotta do is pull back on it and it pops right out. Hi, it's Greg here with Outdoors in the Cheap. I'm doing some striped bass fishing, and I thought there's really not much fishing action happening right now. I thought I would talk about the different kinds of rod holders we have, because you can buy rod holders online and at various fishing sports outlets. I've never seen anything like the rod holders myself and my friend, a fishing buddy of mine, have devised. So let me show you all these different approaches to holding rods. When you're fishing for striped bass, there's a lot of, with bait anyway, there's a lot of waiting for things to bite. And you can stand there and hang on to your rod, but there's really not much point when you can just put it in some sort of tripod or stand and just run over to it when you see it moving. So let me just show you the evolution of how we arrived at these different tripods for holding up fishing rods. So this is where it all began. When we started fishing for striped bass on the shoreline, we would see guys with something like this, although even this would be more sophisticated than what we usually see. So normally what they'd have is a pipe duct taped to a stick or a post of some kind. They put the post into the ground and they put their rod in the pipe. My friend and I quickly realized that the problem with a pipe is that if you want to set your hook, you have to pull it out of the pipe and then set the hook. So with this here setup, where we've got a little thingy to hold it, you know, from moving left to right at the top, and then just a little cup at the bottom. When you get a bite, all you gotta do is pull back on it and it pops right out. Right? So I don't think we have a name for this sort of system, but basically you've got a kind of holder thing at the top, a V or a U at the top, and a cup at the bottom. And I mean, we've been doing this for quite some time. We've never had a fish pull it out of there. It'll just, you know, the fish goes that way, and you know, if you have your drag set right, it'll just start giving up drag. But the great thing about this system is when you see the rod moving, usually we have some sort of bell at the end of the tip of the rod. You just grab it and go. There's no pulling it out of a pipe to retrieve it. Okay. The next iteration was something like this. The problem with a pipe like that is that if you're fishing over rocks or hard ground, there's no way you can put the thing in the rocks, right? Because it's hard. So we came up with this tripod idea, and we had various forms of doing it, but this one here, these are things for cabinet doors. So this tripod closes up really small, so I can just basically carry it in one hand. It's got a kind of hinge here like this, right? That goes up like that, and the legs come together. These things slide down. I can't do it right now because the rod's out. Okay, but it's got that same cup and U setup hanging onto the rod. With my reel, I've got the drag set low enough that if some really big fish takes it, it'll give up line, right? But even if I had to drag on relatively tight, it takes a hell of a lot for this to tip, because it's got a wide base, and because I've got my backpack with all my gear, my water, my weights and bait, you know, everything like that, you know, maybe 10 pounds or so, right, hanging off the stand to give it added mass, added stability, right? So it's the common, and you can also just hook you'll see I've got a hook here as well, right? You can hook a bucket on there, add weights to it. On really windy days, I'll take a string, tie a rock to the string, hanging off of this hook, just to make sure. Especially sometimes I'm only using an 8-footer today because we're fishing in a river or fishing from shore in the ocean. You might have a 12-footer, and if there's high winds, sometimes you need a bit more weight to keep the thing stable, right? Now, this is my buddy's one over here, and this was made from what do you call that, like a stepladder. These are the stepladder, the things that go on a stepladder. I got these from some store where they sold stuff for repairing stepladders, right? So all he's got here is, this is a baluster, you know, railing from a deck down to a T down there for a nice solid base on the back. Here he's got cups at the front, right? And this is to keep, you know, when the fish is bearing down on it. Of course, he's got the backpack hanging off of it to just give it some weight to add stability. But the cups are here to keep this from going into mud when you're fishing over really soft, mucky mud. And a lot of these riverbanks, when you're fishing for striped bass and certain kinds of shoreline, the ground is almost like quicksand, right? So this is like a snowshoe. It's just to keep it from sinking in and disappearing and that sort of thing, right? So that's the setup, and this is just one by one aluminum. Okay, that's a great setup. Again, it's got the U at the top and the cup at the bottom, right? Now this over here is the creme de la creme. This is the ultimate evolution of the tripoded rod stand. And there's been many, I mean, we tried making folding stores and folding chairs into rod stands, but they are only effective if you're sitting in them. If you get up to go pee, or, you know, just shake your legs, and a fish, a sizable fish goes at your rod, the whole chair is going over. Anyway, with this setup here, he's got, this is a baby stroller, you know, the kind that people go jogging with. Okay, so he's ripped off all the baby stuff. He added a little basket to the end here, and he attaches all his gear to this, so he doesn't, the place we're fishing at today was a good 1 kilometer hike from where we parked. So when you're bringing a lot of gear and bait and stuff like that, it can get a pain. So the great thing about these are nice big wheels, really easy to go over terrain. With this basket, he can put all this stuff in there. He's got a bucket here for bait and lunch and beer or whatever, right? And weight, right? And he's got a bungee here to strap all his rods and stuff like that on for when we're going from the vehicle to the shoreline. Now the way he's got his, again, he's got a whole piece of ABS cut in half, but again, that's just a, it's just a big U, right? With a cup at the end. Any cup will do, anything that is a cup will do. I've even used like you know, half a tomato paste can as a cup in the past. Okay, but, and so what he's got down here, he's got a little attachment point here, and he ties it around the wheel, right? So that it basically, that's the 2 points of contact are attached to the basket and to the wheel, so that when there's any sort of pressure, it's not, you wouldn't want the rod attached to this part here, because it would tip the whole thing over, right? By having it attached here, right, the pressure's, you know, over the center of gravity of the stroller to some extent, right? You got some weight in the bucket here, and by just tying it around the wheel, it creates a brake. And of course, because this is a baby stroller, there's an actual, like, you know, mechanical brake here at the back that still functions, right? So this is a really great setup for getting all your gear to your fishing spot, and you can literally attach the rod right to it, right? And of course, all these rods, we've got various types of bells, right? He's got this enormous bell there with a door stopper. With mine over here, I've got these tiny little jingly bells. What do you call them?
That's a bear bell.
That's a bear bell. Oh, okay. Right, and that's, yeah, a little jingly thing. This is the kind of thing you'd buy at a fishing store for night fishing, basically. And of course, if we're fishing at night, we might tie glow sticks at the end or something like that, right? So, yeah, just a short little video talking about different iterations, approaches to rod holders for fishing striped bass, which can get to, you know, 20, 30 pound, 40 pound fish. Largest one I ever caught was 49 inches. Largest one, what's your biggest one? 45? 42 incher. So big fish, right? But with this sort of setup, if you're not right next to your rod when the fish takes it, and when a big fish like that takes it, they don't do a little nibble. They just grab the whole, we got like basically half a fish on a giant hook out here, right? They pick it up and they go. And what we found is with these is they just give up drag, and you know, you run over and grab it, but there's no having to like fish it out of a pipe. You just pull back and go, set the hook. No messing around, because that's when you lose your fish, when you're fiddling around, you know, prior to setting the hook. that's when you lose your fish. So with this, basically as soon as you grab the rod, you're setting your hook instantly, right? No messing around. All right, so that's some different approaches to rod stands. It's really cold today. It's like almost 0 degrees Celsius. We're not having much luck, but you know, we got a little bit more time. Who knows what's going to happen? I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, enjoy the outdoors on the cheap. Thanks for watching.